Hello, oh wait, hold on. Hello, snakes. My name is Dante, and today it's Podcast Tuesday once again. We're gonna talk about the best outlaws. I mean, maybe late to this, but well, the thing is, we're getting a new creature type that could hopefully be incorporated to the types of outlaws. And well, what I was saying is that and for next podcast we're going to talk about different creature type groups, because hopefully we should see more than simply just outlaw or party or stuff. I mean, but we're just going to go over the top 10 best outlaws. In case you don't remember, an outlaw is a rogue, a mercenary, a pirate, an assassin, or a warlock, but not ninjas. A ninja are not outlaw. Hey, Wolf Edits, how are you? Yep. All right, but we're just gonna go over the top 10 best outlaws and also talk about the creature type that could be incorporated to outlaws and the creature type that got rejected from it, and my funny story regarding that. So let's go into our number 10. And good to know. So this is the number 10. We got Shardless Agent, a key piece in many cascade decks, as it allows you to cascade for 2 mana or less. So Shardless Agent, alongside many other cards with cascade for 3 mana, would be used as the lowest mana cost, apart from Crashing Footfalls, Living End, and similar cards like and so yeah, which cannot be cast without suspending it usually. So what you do is that you cast it by cascading into it. So 3 mana spells would help you cascade into it much more easier, because cascade cannot hit a card of the same mana cost, which would mean that with cascade you could, apart from the target spell, which is Living End, Crashing Footfalls, or something similar, you'd use you would use spells that cost at least 3 mana, and you could use this by playing split spells like Aftermath spells or Fuse spells, etc. I mean, or just cards that are just 2 sides, or rooms as well. So you'd play with stuff like Fire and Ice, which for 1 and red you could deal 2 damage to splits among any number of targets, or you could tap for 2 mana, or instead of red you use blue, you could tap a permanent and draw a card, both at instant speed. So this was so Shardless Agent being the only 3 mana creature that can cascade, because the other 3 mana cascade spells are non-creatures, are like instants, enchantments, and other stuff. But Shardless Agent wasn't modern legal until they introduced it in Modern Horizons 2, which saw the sudden uprise of this card. Now let's go to number 9, a signature Commander board wipe, and it is Massacre Girl. It's a 5 mana 4/4 legendary human assassin with menace. When she enters, do -1/-1 to each other creature until turn. Then this turn, if a creature dies, do it again. So the 1 mana creatures would 1 toughness creatures would die, and then you chain into, and then you do again 2. Then you can chain, so you can chain lots of creatures, but not Massacre Girl. she doesn't die to her own board wipe, which makes it even better. Because assuming that all is perfect and you can just kill all the creatures, you'd be left with a 4/4 with menace. That is hard to counter. I mean, you could use a removal spell, but blocking her is not really that effective because she has menace, which would mean you need 2 creatures to block Massacre Go. And yeah, honestly, very cool card. I use her in my Haunt of Hightower Commander deck. There are a bunch of other better outlaws. Let's go in to our number 8. Blighted Agent. A 2-mana 1/1 human rogue with infect and unblockable. Being a creature that with infect that it's basically unstoppable. I mean usually you'd play the pump spells at instant speed if the opponent lets the damage go through, but I mean if you can block the infect feature, you'd block the infect feature, right? This, however, you cannot block it. A bit more expensive than Glistener Elf, but it is a very powerful creature and could possibly one-shot even if you use like sorcery speed, pump spells, or just stack some auras on it. This card works both for infect and for boggles, because even though this does not have hexproof, it is unblockable, which means, and it's infect, so technically it's doubled, because usually it needs to do 20 damage to kill the opponent, but infect is only like 10 poison counters, which is 10 damage from infect, and it's unhealable damage as well. There is like very few cards that can heal poison, but in the most popular format where infect is played, which is modern, or in some cases, or in the past you'd see toxic decks, then in standard standard toxic decks, then you cannot remove poison. You can remove poison from the opponents, but not from yourself. So yeah, there is a way to stop getting poison, which is Solemnity, or even using a card like Malira, the original one. Let's just go in to our number 7, and we got Edric, Spymaster of Trest, a 3-mana 2/2 legendary elf rogue. With whenever a creature deals damage to one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card. A group hug commander. Very powerful in the 1v1 scenario, which, if I'm not wrong, is banned in 1v1 commander? Hold on, let me just... I'm pretty sure Edric is banned in dual commander. He has... Oh, he's banned as a commander in dual commander. Yeah, I was right. He was initially introduced for commander, so it would be strange that he'd get banned. But I think, if I'm not wrong, Edric also got a reprint in original Conspiracy, because Conspiracy was also like a multiplayer draft format. But like, Edric is a really cool card. If you use it yourself, you can just draw a bunch of cards, but it can also divert opponents into attacking each other, as they would draw cards from hitting someone else who's not you. So why would they attack you if they'll get cards by hitting someone else? It's literally defends you. Technically, but don't let your opponents enjoy this too much, because then with too many cards, it will be harder for you to take the last player down. So yeah, but they will be worn out. So you could just sneak in and one-shot the last player. But let's go in to the number 6, and it is Hostage Taker. A 4-mana 2/3 human pirate. That when it enters, you exile another target creature or artifact until it leaves the battlefield. But while it remains exiled, you can cast it by paying any color of mana. And if you do, you get to keep it for yourself. So even if Hostage Taker was to leave the battlefield, if you cast the hostage, then you keep the hostage. You don't have to give it back to your opponent, which is interesting. So if you blink Hostage Taker, you could literally keep on stealing the opponent's creatures and artifacts as well. So it's really cool, but it's a must. You have to exile another artifact or creature, which could lead to your own. So Hostage Taker could literally, if 3 Hostage Takers are on the battlefield alone, then I mean you could literally do an infinite loop. I mean, the case was like Hostage Taker plus exiles a Hostage Taker. Then a Hostage Taker enters, exile Hostage Taker, release Hostage Taker, exile Hostage Taker, and you do this infinitely, which would result to infinite ETBs. But it's unstoppable. So if you don't have anything to benefit from that, it will end in a draw on MTG or MTG Arena. But in a in-person game, you'd probably end up getting penalized. So yeah, or the whole play group will hate you for this, because no one's gonna win this if the game just gets stuck like that. But let's go in to our number 5, and we go Deadpool, 4-mana 5/3 legendary mutant mercenary hero. As Deadpool enters, you may exchange his dead spots and another creatures. And the dead spots is at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 3 life. 3 mana, sacrifice this creature to give your opponents a card. So each player draws a card. So, so yeah, very powerful dual commander, as it literally lets you slice up his dead spots and switch it with someone else's dead spots. And it's kind of funny how all the interactions you can make with Deadpool by switching with the opponent's cards. I mean, Aragorn, you'd literally become the monarch, and imagine, and if you just give Deadpool haste, like, bro, that would be insane. But Deadpool would make you the monarch with Aragorn, for example. And I mean, very popular commanders as well. But the issue is with commanders like Atraxa, where Atraxa enters and the opponent's getting a bunch of cards. I mean, you could get a cool ETB trigger from that and a cool set of keywords, but the opponent will have cards to counter it or to just stop it. Another issue is with Flage. Flage dying when it enters battlefield, which means if you swap Deadpool with Flage, Deadpool dies. But you leave the Flage with an ability that would make it lose life, and it will stop shooting lightning helixes when it attacks. I mean, maybe Deadpool dying is what you need to switch with an extra creature, for example. But the interesting thing is a Serac who bounces himself if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation. So, but you can venture into a dungeon. So by venturing into a dungeon, you can get cool stuff like a life, force players to lose life, or just scry 1. I mean, it all depends on which dungeon you're doing. And Deadpool bouncing himself could just, allow you to swap with another creature. But a Serac will not stick around on the battlefield, usually, because it bounces itself and you just complete the dungeons and stuff. So, yeah. That's basically Deadpool. Now, for this next next 3 cards, I will ask you to rotate your phone. So if you're watching this on a phone, then I suggest you rotate it. I mean, you can rotate it if you choose to, but I suggest you do. But if you're on PC, maybe just tilt your head a little, because these are 3 cards that are all ranked on the number 4 spot, because they have similar effects. So, Hole Breacher, Notion Thief, and Opposition Agent. Hole Breacher's a pirate, but the rest are rogues that will interact, with the opponent and stop, So Hole Breacher, for example, is a free mana, free 2, Merfolk pirate. With flash, your opponent draws a card except the first one. Instead, you get a treasure. Notion Thief, for 4 mana, being a free 1 that with flash, and if an opponent draws a card except the first one, instead, you draw that card. Opposition Agent, being a free mana, free 2, human rogue with flash, and you control the opponent's searches. And whatever they search for, you get to keep it. So, yeah. So, Hole Breacher and Notion Thief basically stealing opponent's draws. And Opposition Agent stealing their search. However, Hole Breacher is banned in normal commander, not dual commander. But Notion Thief and Opposition Agent are still fine. I mean, honorable mention to Small Ring Tiffy, but that's an enchantment, so couldn't include it in this podcast. But as you can see, there's like it's really cool. I mean, we got Hole Breacher, Notion. I mean, honestly, I couldn't decide which ones to rank on top, and plus, considering their similar abilities, it would be strange to have them occupy 3 slots. So why not have them on 1 slot? The next 3 cards are obviously much better than this. So if you're trying to argue these are better, then I disagree. Let's go into Ragavan, a 1 mana 2/1 legendary monkey pirate. With whenever Ragavan deals combat damage to player, create treasures, and then edits out a top card from their deck, you can play it this turn. I mean, cast it, not play it. My bad. And you can dash for 2 mana. So, Ragavan, a strong hitter for 1 mana. Usually for 1 mana you get 1/1s. You get to get free treasure by hitting the opponent. And you get to get a card. I mean, you can use one of their cards. I mean, depending on how early it is in the game, I mean, you won't really, or just depending on the archetype, you won't really usually play the card the opponent plays. But, I mean, if it's a similar match, or, well, if you feel like it, cast it. But if it's a land, I mean, you can't do anything. But in a late game situation, you can dash Ragavan to catch the opponent by surprise, since it will give them less time to prep for Ragavan or kill it, as you will still be able to land a hit from the Ragavan. And you'd be able to cast a card, get a treasure, or something similar. So, yeah. Very powerful card in Boros Energy. And can also be played in domain decks. And, yeah. However, in Legacy, not really that good. Because with a bunch of cards I can, ping. Wait, hold on. Wait, wasn't Ragavan? Hold on. No, Ragavan was banned in Legacy, right? I mean, yeah, right. Never mind. Ragavan was banned in Legacy, but Ragavan had But in Legacy, there were a bunch of cards that could kill Ragavan more than Modern. So, and plus with Force of Will and stuff, you probably weren't gonna land the Ragavan. So I'm actually kind of surprised Ragavan's banned in Legacy. But other than that, it's so yeah, that's basically Ragavan. And well, let's go in to our number 2. We got Brazen Borrower. Yeah, 3 mana, 3/1 fairy rogue with flash flying. Can only block creatures with flying. But for 2 mana, you got the Petty Theft, which is an instant adventure bounce a permanent opponent controls. So, I mean, you can bounce attackers, you can bounce stuff the opponent have, like, I mean, Primeval Titans and stuff. But you can also, flash it in, you know, if your opponent is attacking with a flying creature. Or, at the end of a turn, you could flash in Brazen Borrower to set up your next attack. Very powerful for Pioneer, Modern, maybe Legacy too. I mean, but yeah, that's basically a card. Makes sense for this to be Mythic. I don't see how this would get downgraded to Rare, but it's quite a cool card. I mean, literally bounces stuff, and it literally just, you know, hits hard as well. I mean, it flies so much that it can only block flyers. But that is not the best rogue. The best rogue is none other than Delphi Voidwalker. An even more unblockable creature than Brazen Borrower. Even less of a blocker than Brazen Borrower. 2-mana 3/2 Delphi Rogue with Shadow. If a card hits the opponent's graveyard, instead exile it with a Void counter. You can tap and sacrifice Delphi to just, you know, to select one of the exiled cards from the opponent that have a Void counter. You may cast it for free. No, wait, play it for free. So if by any chance you want land, hey, you got the land. But you're gonna usually use it on big stuff. And honestly, considering Delphi Voidwalker uses Void counters, if you have multiple of the Voidwalker or multiple or stuff that blink, bring back Voidwalker, etc., then you or even just copy the Voidwalker, you could try casting multiple stuff from the opponent's exile. But other than that, it is basically a Leyline of the Void for 2 mana that is also a 3/2 unblockable creature. I mean, unblockable except by other Delphi Voidwalkers. Because honestly, this is the only card with Shadow that's merely playable in any format. Unless if you want to build a Shadow Tribal Commander deck. I mean, not Shadow Tribal, but cards with the Shadow keyword. So, yeah, honestly, why not? I think Delphi Voidwalker is the best outlaw. But if there is a better outlaw, in your opinion, maybe rearrange the list or something, let me know in the comments. But let's just talk about a creature type that may or may not be incorporated to the outlaw typing. Villains. I mean, villains are going to be introduced in the new Marvel set. So, it's only logical villains would be outlaws. Because, well, unless you count, you know, Mayor Fisk, for example, then they're basically outlaws. But don't forget, Kingpin was, you know what, an outlaw. He was like literally, he was one of the bad guys. I mean, he's still a bad guy. I mean, just before he was like operating outside the law, then he is the law. But I mean, but considering, you know, most Marvel villains, like, you know, Venom, Carnage, Vulture, and Doc Ock, I mean, it's logical to assume, you know, the villains would be outlaws. But I mean, now I think of it, I mean, there could be some villains that aren't outlaws. But most villains are outlaws. I mean, even a superhero like freaking Deadpool can be an outlaw. Look, he's a mercenary. Mercenaries are outlaws. So, yeah, he's just a guy who just does it for the money and for fun. It's not even, honestly, I don't know how he's a hero. I'd say, I mean, he's literally a mercenary. He's neutral, but well, let's talk about, you know, ninja. Now, Morrow never explained why, but Ninja was considered to be an outlaw type. I mean, I searched everywhere and I didn't see why Ninja is an outlaw, but is an outlaw type, but they did consider it. I mean, maybe considering how some of the most important ninja in the lore, like in the lore, like Kaito or Satoru. Maybe. Maybe Kaido. He's not an outlaw. I mean, he's literally friends with the Emperor. So despite him, being a ninja, he's he's literally just best friends with the Emperor of Kamigawa. So he wouldn't really count as an outlaw. I mean, the funny story I had with this card was that I was playing a Demir deck in one time, and no, was it? No, it was Esper Bounce. I had Kaito. I was attacking with Kaito, and the opponent was playing a mirror match or a similar match, and opponent plays nowhere to run to kill one of my creatures, and then it hits Kaito with Shoot the Sheriff, and I'm like, hey, the frick is a Toon stuff? Wait, what? I don't get it. How is there is no there is no Toon. It's a whole card. All right. Well. But yeah, Kaito. I mean, and he's like, and like he was doing shoot jab, and I'm like, wait, isn't Ninja an outlaw? And like, bro, like, no. And I searched and like, oh shoot, Ninja are an outlaw. Like, what? How are Ninja not outlaw? But well, yeah, that's. But blame it on Wizards. But yeah, honestly, congratulations. You've reached the end of the podcast. So why don't you like and subscribe and follow me, Andre? Share friends. Stay tuned to next videos, streams, and podcasts. Podcasts will be live every Tuesday, 4:30 GMT. So stay tuned to them. Watch my other videos too. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And bye.